Good morning, gang. Happy Sunday morning. And yes, it's actually Sunday morning because I was so exhausted yesterday. It was like right after the live stream, I went to bed. So I'm having coffee with you. So, all right. So, fortunately, I knew what I was going to talk about. Uh, what I wanted to discuss today was quality versus quantity as a prepper. Okay. And the reason I bring this one up is as preppers, we all kind of have the mindset of more is better. Okay. And I totally agree with that. Okay. I'd rather have 12 months of food than 6 months of food. I'd rather have 1,000 rounds of ammo than 100 rounds of ammo, whatever. So, in a lot of cases, more is better. Now, the issue gets to, do you sacrifice the quality for the quantity? Right? And I'll give you the reason where this topic came up. And y'all know I am replacing my deck, okay? Which is kind of weird because, we moved into this house a little more than 2 years ago, and the house was built in 2011. So the house is 10 years old. Why in the hell would a deck need to be replaced? So when Mrs. P and I started tearing this thing out, because the boards were starting to do this, the post underneath had actually come through because the deck had sunk. What did we find? Well, when they built the deck, they didn't use treated lumber. Now, who in the hell builds an outside structure like a deck without treated lumber? Somebody that's trying to cut corners. Now, my suspicion on this, again, I don't have any proof to it, but this is my guess, is the people that owned the house before us had this, they were in their 70s. They built the house. And my guess is they cut corners on the deck, because the other funny part was, over a 16-foot span, there was one post. So this 16 feet of joists had no support except for the ends on 8 boards, except for one of them that was a post in the center. My suspicion is they cut corners because it was cheaper, and they figured, in 10 years, we probably won't be using the house, because it was going to be a vacation home for them. We won't be using the house. Who cares? It'll be the next person's problem. Okay. Logic tells me that's the suspicion, because nobody in their right mind builds a deck without treated wood. So it got me to thinking on quality versus quantity. Quantity, they had a deck. Quality, it was crap, but they had a deck. Okay, it'll work for a while. Well, same thing comes to when we're prepping. And I know we talk about this all the time, buying our preps at Walmart, buying our preps at the dollar store. God knows I do, okay, no question. But we need to think about what we buy there. All right, now, I've got some inexpensive stuff upstairs too. I have the Armor brand beef stew instead of Dinty Moore beef stew. And, a lot of people say, oh, you open this thing up and it's a lot of gravy and there's not a lot of meat in there. Open them up. Yeah, a lot of gravy, not a lot of meat. Okay, so this is true. So in that respect, I did go for quantity over quality because it was about $1 cheaper a can. Well, you buy 200 cans of it. I think it's like a 240. It's $250 I saved. Okay. But then you start thinking, and you can deal with that because, you're going to take your beef stew, you're going to put it over mashed potatoes or whatever, and it's going to be some sort of sustenance. You're fine. But then you start thinking about some of the other stuff. And do you want it as quality or quantity? Like I mentioned, your ammo. I want quality ammo. I don't want this tool ammo or, any of the second tier ammo out there. Say things like your water purification or whatever. I want quality stuff. I don't want some knockoff. I mean, I mentioned one time in a video, I opened a can of peas, and Mrs. P looked at them and said, "The hell is this? They don't look like peas." And look on the side of the can, and all of a sudden, here it is, made in China. And like I made the comment, I said, peas are so damn easy to grow. Why the hell do we have to import peas from China? I grow them in my backyard, It's not like they're difficult. But we had gone to the store, and those peas were cheaper, so we bought them. And, obviously we'll never buy them again. But then I think of other things like, oh, gee, maybe your first aid kit, okay? We all talk about a lot of the stuff that you can buy at the dollar store. Sure, no problem. But be careful on what you buy in the way of quantity over quality. And I mean, and this goes into anything in life. I mean, are you going to put, let's use cars, for example, OEM parts when you've got to replace something, original equipment manufacturer. Do you want to put genuine Ford parts or genuine Chevy parts on your car? Or do you want to put the latest Chinese knockoff on it? I mean, we all know, most everything that you buy at Walmart is made in China. And we all know that 6 months later, you're going back to buy the same thing over again because the first one is no longer any good. Think about that when it comes to your preps, guys, because at some point, there's going to be 6 months later, there isn't anything to replace it with because there isn't a store. So, when you're looking at whatever you're doing, start thinking for the long term on it because, as I'm building this deck and Mrs. P's going, Jesus Christ, you're building this thing, it's rock solid. I'm like, yeah, I'm 55 years old. Last time I built a deck was 35. Okay, it was a little easier. But I said, I don't want to have to rebuild this deck in 15 years. I said, I'm going to be 70, and there's no way I'm going to be able to do it. So, physically, because this is tough as it is on me. But, I'd still do it. But think about that, guys. It's like, okay, what are going to be your limitations later when you need to do something, and are you going to be able to do it? A few of you guys have talked about, your gardening, and I love some of the ideas. A few people said they're in wheelchairs or whatever it would be, and, made 3-foot raised beds so they don't have to bend over. That's what I'm talking about. That's brilliant thinking. It's like, okay, here's the situation I have. How can I do this quality-wise? Because, sure, I could have built a ground level garden, and then what? You can't plant in it. You got to wait for anything to get high to harvest. But if you can't plant in it, you're not going to harvest. So those sorts of things are things that I say to remember when you're looking at whatever you purchase. Purchase the best quality of whatever you can, or whatever you're getting that you can, because if you can't get it later, then you have, again, the thought of 2 is 1 and 1 is none. Okay. Well, if you're buying substandard stuff, 2 could be none real quick. So I'd rather buy 1 quality than 2 substandard. Just thought I'd bring that one up this morning. It was something that was bouncing through my head yesterday as I was pounding nails. So I got more work to do today, guys. Have a lovely Sunday. Hopefully not cut my leg open again. Have a good day, guys. Pinball out.